It's a great feeling to be on this red dot. I feel the energy, and the speakers that we had since morning really energized me. There is so much which kind of hit me very, very positively about the different speeches that we heard. And all I can say is I would not like to repeat what was said. Because what I find is most of the things which were said, I'm a living example of that. So what I decide to share with you today is some personal stories. And I hope everyone can relate to it, because we are living a life experience as a human being. And the more we share, I think, the more we can inspire each other. So one thing which I noticed and I really enjoy for past 2 days in Florence is everywhere you go, there is love. So 2 days back with my friend, we were enjoying the famous gelato here, and the shop says, with love. Yesterday I walked into a shop, I purchased something, and the bag which I got, the shopping bag, it was with love and the brand name. So I think we are at the right place, where we are talking about renewed humanism, and renewed humanism is all about love, but love which is unconditional, because that's what really defines us as a human being. So a little bit about me. I was born in India, in Delhi, and the whole my life has been not short of miracles. But to receive these miracles is the frequency of unconditional love that you have to operate from. So that's what I have gone through, and I would try to share very quickly some stories out of that. So at the age of 3, I was paralyzed. And it was a stage where there was no chance for me to survive. I had almost a near-death experience with no hope to survive. And that period actually lasted for a year. I was in hospital for a year with no movement. The only faint memory I have of this experience is actually that a tall doctor walks in the room, and I've been asked to move away from the bed and stand. I could not stand up, and I fall down. So this is the only memory which I have of this experience. I don't feel any pain, I don't feel any emotion attached to it, but yes, this memory is there. All I know is through my parents, and they went through this trauma, I think, more than what I went through. One story which my dad tells me is when every doctor kind of gave up this survival because it went to an extent where my organs started to fail and there was no chance to survive. He was one day waiting outside the hospital for a bus to arrive, and I was in his lap. And suddenly one guy passes by him, and he just says, "Your son is going to be all right." And next day, my dad finds a doctor who is ready to take this case, but nobody else was taking at that time. So that was a miracle, number one of my life. And I started to recover, which was impossible as per the medical science. It took like 1 year for me to recover, and I was just starting my schooling that time when I gave up completely. And within a year, I recovered completely healthy kid. I did my schooling. I recovered that 1 year by doing 2 classes in 1 year. So I was back in life with full form, living a normal life. But all through the years of my childhood, the biggest insecurity which I had was about my legs. Today I'm standing here on red dot like this, looking at my legs. But this is not short of a miracle for me. So this insecurity about my legs was also coming actually from my parents, because they were more insecure than me, because they thought anything can go wrong at some point in my life. So they were very, very touchy on this subject that, okay, you should not do extreme stuff. So I was not very active as a kid, not doing too many sports during those years. But although I grew up as a very healthy kid. I did my engineering in India, but all throughout those years, I was very disconnected in the space in India where I was growing, because my orientation was to a very open world. Most of the friends which I had was also from abroad, outside of India. And I had a dream that I want to go out of India and explore myself. That's where I left India and I went to France and studied. I did my MBA, and the whole world actually opened to me. I learned French. I was fluent by the time I actually landed in France. So it took me just 2 months to learn this language. So those abilities were somewhere inside me. It came out. I don't know how, but those were there. I have a very successful career, I can say. I'm proud of it. I was very lucky to have those kind of people to the networks which I discovered in France or in other European countries, in working with the top organizations in the automotive company. Today, I don't want to talk about the auto industry. That's a different topic. But I want to share a story which started for me when I landed in Dubai in 2019. Dubai is a place of dreams. Most of you would have traveled. It's all about luxury. It's all about the development which is going on there. But one thing which people miss to talk about is the amount of talent and the kind of people and the kind of communities that you find in Dubai. So if you have the right energy, you are at the right vibration, you're going to attract those kind of people in that amazing city. And this is what happened to me in 2022 post-COVID. And just before that, in fact, after COVID, there was a situation where I was supposed to go back to India because of the situation in the company where our headquarters for the region was closed. I had the option to continue my job, but I chose to resign from the company, and that was during the time of COVID. Nobody would back me that I would get a job because the situation was such. But I landed up in 1 month, 3 jobs on my table. It was like a sign from universe that I have to continue to be in Dubai. It was during that time I met some amazing coaches, because at that time I chose myself to go through a personal transformation, choosing fitness, trying to invest myself, and I also invested in a program, leadership program at Stanford University, Graduate School of Business. That I would say is the golden learning period of my life. During those 1 year, I would say there was a big transformation which happened, and one of the big things which happened was the coaches, particularly, I started learning yoga, and that led to a complete physical, mental transformation, and I could really sense the connection that is there between mind, body, and soul. So it was during that time I started to discover about conscious leadership. So conscious leadership is about the 6 human dimensions. 5 of them you see here, which is mind, body, heart, awareness, and soul. When you balance all this, this is where you lay down the foundation of a strong leadership. The image that you see here was taken during my first climb of Mount Everest Base Camp, but this is also a story of the miracle number 2 of my life. During all this journey of yoga with my teacher in Dubai, I had so much of inspiration, and the people coming in my life who believed in me and who changed all my thought process. Like a simple sentence being told to you, which nobody told you, like, you are amazing. Your legs are the strongest part of your body, which in fact was a reality, but nobody told me that before I started doing yoga. There was a time in my time at Stanford, and I was taking a very famous course which is taught to the MBA students in Stanford. One is business-oriented course, it is called Building Power. And the other one is a very, very tangent course, it's called Creating Life of Consequence. How you create a happy and joyful life. It's taught by a very famous faculty in Stanford, Professor Roderick Kramer. I still remember him because it was a life-changing moment for me. And I went through this whole transformation, writing one page, which was my own obituary, that you are on a deathbed and you are imagining your life. That was the time I wrote one line that by age of 48, I want to climb Mount Everest. I don't know from where it came. It was a thought, and I just penned it down. But 2 weeks later, it became so much overwhelming experience for me that I decided that I'm going to go to Mount Everest Base Camp. There was no training. There was no background that I had in hiking. I just went. I did Mount Everest Base Camp without any difficulties. And what I found myself there was a complete consciousness and awareness about myself, which I never had in my life. I had my self-belief back. I had a very clear vision about myself, what I want to do. This led to a series of climbs, which I could never believe what happened. I did a 6,000-meter peak called Island Peak in Nepal. I did Mount Kilimanjaro, which I just went to explore my boundaries, I would say. But I ended up summiting Kilimanjaro in almost 16 hours and 30 minutes, which with the guide who was going with me, it was a record for him also. I did not stop there. In January this year, I went to Aconcagua in Argentina, which is one of the 7 summits. And it was a big lesson in my life again, because I reached 6,650 meters. Mountain is almost 7,000, so I was short 310 meters. And I decided to come back at that time. While at that time, my ego was telling me that I will actually summit the mountain. But it was about my own consciousness, the self-awareness, which I learned that I will go up, but I will not come down. And I took a decision to come back. And this is all about the conscious leadership which we need in this world today. Because we can be driven by egos, but that is not a collective effort that we need, neither in the organizations. Because end of the day, the soul of the organization also is about the people that all collectively are working, and they have a collective consciousness in the organization. So for me today, in my own personal world and also in professional world, I'm more known for what energy which I bring to my work. So the sustainable human performance is about being driven by purpose, a resilient mindset, movement, and recovery. The last part is something which we always forget, which is driven by self-love, self-care. Otherwise, you are looking at a burnout, which is not the company which is putting on you, but it is a self-generated thought which manifests in your life. So, for me, the mountains, the journey that I had, it is the mountain of love. It is the mountain of unconditional love. And the message which I would like to leave for all of you today is the empowerment that you get by living the life with purpose, with unconditional love, and with your authenticity. Because when you stand on your authenticity, that's where you are in your true energy to inspire the world. Thank you very much.